All right, live in 3, 2, 1.
Happy Postdoc Appreciation Week. Thank you for all that you do.
For this year's National Postdoc Appreciation Week, I want to reflect on the creativity and innovation that you, our postdocs, bring to the system.
Postdocs are the lifeblood of the scientific research enterprise, and their contributions and impact extend far beyond the lab.
I appreciate postdocs for their flexibility. If the lab were a soccer team, postdocs would be that athlete who could play any position.
You inspire me and others to be great. Take heart and look around you and see how much that you really do to make a difference in this world.
What I never expected was the profound impact that postdocs themselves would have on me and my life. Their passion and enthusiasm for making a real difference at their institutions is infectious.
For all these reasons, you are valuable to the lab. You are valuable to the university's research and teaching enterprise. Where would we be without you? And you are valuable to the world.
I miss seeing you in person, but it brings me so much joy to build community online. I hope to see you in workshops or our events very soon and all throughout this month.
Thank you for everything that you do.
You are the future of the research enterprise. And so in that regard, you are the future of discovery and progress. And for that, I want to thank you.
Your work is appreciated. You deserve all the recognition and accolades that you get.
And I'm going to end with one of my favorite quotes. That quote is from T.S. Eliot, who says, "We shall never cease from exploration, and the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time."
This week and all other weeks, take very good care of yourselves. Happy Postdoc Appreciation Week.
All right, welcome everyone to our webinar. We will start with our introductions.
Thanks everybody and welcome, good afternoon. Welcome to the second of our 3 national events during our 11th annual National Postdoc Appreciation Week, or NPAW. I'm Tom Kimbus, I'm Executive Director of the National Postdoctoral Association, or the NPA. We're proud to be kicking this webinar off that's hosted by the National Research Mentoring Network, or NRMN. They're one of our proud partners. If you're not familiar with them, you should be. You'll be hearing from your host, Katie Stinson, in just a moment. But you should know that NRMN is one of the leading authorities on mentoring with a focus in the biomedical field. They use innovative, evidence-based best practices to inform and improve mentoring relationships at institutions across the country, and pay particular attention to working with traditionally underserved populations to drive to success. So please pay attention today. Today's host, as I mentioned, is Katie Stinson. She's the virtual engagement strategist for the NRMN Resource Center. She's got her degrees in journalism and library and information science with an emphasis in health informatics. And when she's not working so hard for NRMN, she's in the process of getting her PhD. She works tirelessly to help manage this platform, My NRMN, which you're about to dive into. And we're proud at the NPA to have our own group launching this week on the My NRMN platform to help our own members engage and in networking. So Katie's going to help walk you through that today. Before we begin, just a few short points. Thank you to our sponsors out there, Gallagher and Protein Tech, as well as Emory University, and to Lydia for helping facilitate this session today. Our NPAW schedule of events is up on our website, the NPA website, which is in the chat box, which is www.nationalpostdoc.org. Remember that the events run through Friday, and most of them are free and open to everyone to register, so feel free. If you haven't done so already, as you see at the bottom of your screen, please join the NPA. For institutions, there's 215 of you out there already who are members. Thank you. We love your support. We need all of you to do the same. We need to hear from all of you. We're only as strong as our members' voices. If you're a postdoc listening, your membership is free if your institution is already a member, and most of them are. So it's really easy. Just log on to our website, check the right side, right-hand side for the box that says join, and it walks you through from there. And Amy's got the link right there in the chat box to our website and to the calendar of events. And speaking of needs, we need to hear from you. On the top right, you see that we need you to help us build a better NPA. And we're going to do that through a very short survey, take less than 5 minutes, and you have the opportunity to win an Amazon gift card for doing so. If you're a member, you already have received the survey link. If you're not, you're still eligible to vote, and we'd love to get that information from you. So please complete that survey. It's right up on the link is Amy is presenting to you right now. It's a SurveyMonkey link. It's in the chat box. You can also find it from our website as well. So that's very important to us. Lastly, if you have any questions during the webinar, and there are questions or comments that are intended for everybody, please use the chat function that's on the bottom portion of your screen. If you have a question for Katie, our speaker, use the Q&A function, and that will get the question directly to Katie. And Christy, my colleague Christy Ferguson, will be helping facilitate that Q&A session when we get to it later on today. So enjoy. Don't forget there's more to come, and have a great NPAW. Thank you for all of your hard work. Turn it over to Katie.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tom. So hopefully everybody can see my screen by now. You should be looking at my presentation for the National Research Mentoring Network. So thank you all for attending this and for joining in for the National Postdoc Appreciation Week. I am so excited to be here. As Tom said, my name is Katie Stinson, and I am the Virtual Engagement Strategist for the National Research Mentoring Network. So, oh, I just heard that my presentation is not showing, so hang on 1 second. Let me get that shared one more time. All right, now that should be working. Thank you for that notification. Like Tom said, I'm Katie Stinson with the National Research Mentoring Network, and I am the Virtual Engagement Strategist for the National Research Mentoring Network. And what that really means is that I run and manage our virtual community, which is called My NRMN, and that's all the resources that are available to people who are NRMN members. So before we really dive in, I want to find out first, who has heard of NRMN? So if you'll take some time to fill out a poll that we're about to put up, and then that way we can see really who all of you, or how many of you have heard of NRMN before and who has not heard of it. All right, it looks like people are coming in. We'll give it just another few seconds. All right, so it looks like we are almost 50-50 with people that have heard of NRMN before. So this is good. Hopefully for those of you who have heard of NRMN, you'll learn something new about some of the features within the network. And for those of you who haven't, you will just get to learn everything brand new. So awesome, thank you so much. So I'll go ahead and close this out. So moving forward, today we're going to go over first, what is NRMN, and then also the resources that are available to everyone, regardless of membership status. Next, we'll go over My NRMN, which is all the resources that are available to NRMN members. And then finally, I'll leave time for a Q&A at the end as well. So first and foremost, the National Research Mentoring Network is an NIH grant-funded initiative whose purpose is to diversify the STEM workforce. And we do that by providing whatever we can in the regards of mentorship, networking, and professional development resources. Something to note, membership is completely free. There is absolutely no charge regarding anybody joining NRMN and utilizing these resources. However, the NIH does stipulate that anyone who wants to be a mentee in our network must be at least 18 years or older, be a US citizen, permanent resident, or non-citizen US national. However, if you don't meet that requirement, you could also join as a mentor. And mentors just have the requirement of being at least 18 years or older. And I'll show you the different mechanisms of utilizing mentoring, regardless if you're a mentee or mentor in the network as well. So NRMN launched in 2014, and since then we have gained over 16,000 mentors and mentees across the United States, as well as our territories such as Puerto Rico and Guam. So this is the NRMN team. You can see we are quite small, and we are actually divided between Vanderbilt University and the University of North Texas. So the principal investigator, Dr. Vishwanatha, Damaris Javier, who is our Associate Director, and myself, the Virtual Engagement Strategist, are all located out of the University of North Texas Health Science Center. And then our technical team, led by Dr. Tufik Ahmed, and then also working with Zanab Latif and Jay Johnson, are housed out of Vanderbilt University. So we all have been working virtually this whole time, actually, from the very beginning. And then now we're even in a more virtual capacity, just like everybody else is these days as well. So now I'm going to start diving into our resources. So first and foremost, we have our website, and that website, let me pull it up. Oh, excuse me. Went a little bit too far. So our website is nrmnet.net, and I'm going to put this link in the chat too, just so you have easy access to it. All right, so this website, you can see from the get-go that it is catered to your research or to your career education stage. So whenever you select any one of these little buttons here, it'll actually show you the available resources for you based on where you are in your career education stage. So this one right now is selected on undergraduate. But as you select through there, it'll take you to different places and show you the things that are most pertinent to you. Next, we also have multiple career development webinars. In fact, an entire page that has all of our career development webinars since the beginning, and there is a lot on there. We also have partnership opportunities, such as what we've been doing with the National Postdoc Association this week. But in addition, for anybody who wants to get their name out there, wants to put themselves out for the STEM community, we can work with you on doing a career development webinar, doing a write-up on you, or even just having you be an ambassador for NRMN whenever you're going back to your home institution. We also are available on most of the socials. We've got a YouTube channel. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we also have a monthly newsletter that goes out, which we have over 26,000 subscribers. So if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, then you can text NRMN to 22828, or I'm also going to put the link to subscribe into the chat as well. So something else exciting with our career development webinars, we had the Mentoring Excellence webinar series, which launched last February. However, due to COVID and different universities closing down for the quarantine, this one ended up getting postponed, but we have just relaunched it, and our very first instance coming back into the series is the power of saying no. And that is occurring on Thursday, October 1st from 12 to 1:30 p.m. CST. And I will put that registration link into the chat as well. So this one, we are excited that it's coming back. There is going to be another webinar on October 29th, and that one is the trials and tribulations of grad school. And I actually personally requested that one because I currently am a graduate student. So I was really excited to get to have that one on the docket coming up. That registration link has not been created yet, so I do not have that one here for you to register, but we will be sending out information about that shortly. Next up on the list, so I'm not going to be able to cover everything within my NRMN today, and once we get in there, you will absolutely see why. But we do have a monthly webinar series called How to Leverage the NRMN Network. And for that series, we go over different new features that are coming up, things that we want to highlight within the network, different announcements going on within NRMN. And so that is something that we have every single month, and you can register for one and be notified about all of them in the upcoming series. So I just put the link to register for that into the chat as well. So I know there's a lot of links going on here. But don't worry, I've provided my slides to the Postdoc Association, or to the National Postdoc Association, so you should have access to all of these later. So going forward, in order to create your NRMN account, you can either click on this link, which I guess you technically can't click on it now until I post it into the chat. But you could also scan the QR code and get started that way. Now, if you want to go ahead and get started on filling out your profile, you can absolutely do that. But I'll also provide this information, like I said, in the chats. That way you can take this back and do it later. So now we are officially going to dive into the My NRMN mentoring and networking resources. So I'm going to hop over to my NRMN screen. So this is actually the layout of My NRMN, and you can see it looks very similar to any other social media site such as Facebook and LinkedIn. In fact, I kind of like to think about it as a mesh between Facebook and LinkedIn, but targeted just for people in the STEM fields. However, I know you were listening whenever Tom spoke earlier. So my background is in journalism and in library and information science. So I technically do not fit into the STEM fields, but there are plenty of things over here that I can benefit from as well within this. So for example, there's a CV or resume builder, there's publications, and there's just networking throughout all of the STEM fields and across universities across the country. So this is a great place, even if maybe you're only loosely affiliated with STEM or maybe on the periphery of STEM, this is still a great resource for you to have. But so what I want to do first is just kind of walk you through what is available on here and how just to go ahead and get started in this, because I know it's a lot and can be intimidating whenever you first come in. So first and foremost, all of our resources are located here in this panel on the left. Now, something to note, we are adding more resources all the time, and you can see that these are just about to cross the fold where you'd have to scroll to get to them. So we are in the process of reorganizing this just to make it a little more simple and where it's just easier and more catered to whatever career education stage you're in. But until that time, they're all located here along the left. Then, based on our matching algorithm, we provide our top recommendations of people for you to connect with or network with. And so you can see there are mentors and mentees in here alike. There's also a mechanism to find a mentor here, but I'll go into that in a different place. There are two different ways to actually access this mechanism of finding a mentor. So I'll get into that in just a second. And then there's a link to an Ask a Mentor here. And that actually factors into this here, which is very similar to a Reddit feed, but where anybody can pose a question to the entire My NRMN community and anybody has the ability to answer it. Now down the center is your timeline or your news feed. So anybody you're connected with, any groups that you're a member of, any events that are happening, any things that load into stuff that you personally chose to be affiliated with are all gonna load in here, and like your timeline or news feed and any other social media. Then over in this panel on the right, this is all the stuff that is specifically catered to you. So I have a My Mentor mentoring connection, and I'll go into exactly what that is in just a bit. But so all that's located here for easy access. Then there's also a calendar within My NRMN, which by the way, can sync up with your personal calendar. So you don't have to check two different places for, meetings with your mentors versus meetings that you have to meet on campus. So all that can be synced up into one place. And then there's also all the people that you're connected to. So that way you can easily reach out and send them an instant message or even start and schedule a video call with them going forward. Which by the way, we provide all the mechanisms for you to communicate within this system. So that way whenever you're first connecting with somebody, whenever you're first meeting somebody, you don't have to share any of your personal contact information because we provide you the way to communicate without having to do so. But then finally, using that matching algorithm again too, we also can recommend groups for you to join. And I will definitely be showing you the National Postdoc Association group that's here so that hopefully all of you can join that as well. So first and foremost though, I'm going to show you how to actually search and what actually populates from our search fields. So coming up here to the search, you see there's members, groups, etc. But the important part about this is that etc. because this isn't just searching for a specific entity. You can actually search by key term and it will search the entirety of My NRMN. So I'm going to put in a very broad search term, biology. And we're going to see how that pulls up things that are coming from the entire gamut of My NRMN. And so we'll give that just a second to load. And so we can see here within My NRMN, we've got almost 3,000 results populating from just the search term of biology. So I would recommend whenever you first come in here, start with something broad and then narrow down to your specific focus. And that way you can kind of, start your network broad and then also come down and find people that are going to be more pertinent to you and even groups and other things that are going to be more specific to you. But getting started, first you can see all the different ways to filter over here. So you could filter by member and even further filter by mentor or mentee. You could also filter by group, which pertains to this My Groups, which is where the National Postdoc Association group is located. You can also filter by question, which goes to that Ask a Mentor question or Ask a Mentor feed that I spoke of earlier. Or journals, which is our own personal blog space where people can come in and create a journal entry and either only post it to those they're connected to or even post it out to the entire My NRMN community. It's up to them. You can also further search by institution, by more specific interest. If there's any concepts listed, those will be posted here. And you can also narrow down by location. So what I want to really show you in here is that we've got a lot of different buttons to push, and I just want to make sure everyone's clear on what all those mean. So first and foremost, you can see that this person is a mentee and I'm already connected with them. However, you can also see that regardless if they're a mentee or a mentor, there's this Ask Me a Question button. Now we found that a lot of people, whenever they come in here, are just nervous to reach out and kind of start putting themselves out there to request connections with people that they've never met and that also have never met or heard of them. And then we also found a lot with undergraduates that they were really just anxious and trepidatious about reaching out to somebody that is already so advanced in their field. So we just wanted to kind of find a way to help them break the ice a little bit. So what you can do is just click Ask Me a Question, and it just populates a field for you to say, hey, I see that you study biology. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Hey, I can see you're affiliated with the American Society for Microbiology. Can you tell me about what that is and maybe what your role is with that organization? So it's just a way to kind of start that dialogue so that way you'll feel more comfortable reaching out and asking for that connection, and even making sure there's someone you want to connect with before you actually do ask for that connection. Now, if you feel comfortable reaching out and asking for that connection from the get-go, that button's also there for you as well. So it's just whatever is within your comfort zone. But then you can also see for mentors on here, and it's mentors that I'm not currently connected with, that I can request mentoring from them. Now, there are two different facets of mentoring within my NRMN. Now, there is a structured mentoring, which is this My Mentor, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But then there's also this mentoring, which is request mentoring. Now, something I want to point out is that I am a mentor in this system, and I still have the ability to come in and request mentoring from anyone else that's affiliated as a mentor in the system. So even if you are not able to be a mentee for whatever reason, you can still request mentoring from other people. Now, this request mentoring is a little different because it is completely unstructured. Now, so what you would do is update your CV or resume, which you can either upload your CV or resume if you already have one created, or you can use our CV or resume builder. And that way you can go ahead and have one created there. But you go ahead and update your CV, just make sure that's up to where you want it to be. And then you come in to send them a question. And like I said, this is a completely unstructured mentoring. So you're not going to be told when to schedule meetings. You're not going to be told what questions to ask or, any guidance along the way. This is really going to be what you need it to be. So I've had, even though I'm not a STEM person, I've had people reach out to this because I have a background in writing, and they've reached out to ask me for help with proposals on things and just help on getting things published. And so I've had people reach out and ask me for that. And they've said, hey, can you just help me with this one specific assignment? And then that's it. Other times I've had them say, hey, can you just be my go-to person for whenever I have questions with my writing? Can you help me with that? And so that's what this is. Like I said, it is exactly what you need it to be because you're the one creating it for yourself. So that's what this style of mentoring is. So next, I want to go into our more structured mentoring, which is this My Mentor. Now, this is the space where it is going to matter if you're a mentee or a mentor. Within every other space within my NRMN and with every other feature, you can utilize, it looks exactly the same for both a mentee and mentor, but this is the space where it is a little different. So if you're a mentee in the system, and I want to point out, I'm going to be showing you on a demo account of mine that is completely empty. So I want to show you that before I get in here. But if you're coming in here as a mentee, first you would select your path, or that's your curriculum. So because this is the Postdoc Association, I'm going to select Postdoctoral. And then you can click Select a Mentor. Now from there are 3 different options for how you can select a mentor. Now, the first option shows you your top 3 mentoring matches based on how you've completed your profile. Now, you can see, as I told you, this profile is completely empty. And so that's why everything is saying not applicable. And that's because they also have empty profiles, so that's why we match. But hopefully your profile will be complete, and that way you'll find a better match, and you'll have a match up here that'll work for you. But even if you want to look further than just beyond your top 3 matches, you can also look at option 2 and search the entire database of mentors that have enrolled in My Mentor. And the third option, which I've actually found is the most popular, is option 3. And that's where you ask the administrator, which is myself, to actually select a mentor for you. And so what I do when that happens is I look at our mentoring database that have enrolled in My Mentor. I filter it based on our matching algorithm, but then I also look at how active the mentors are in the system and how recently they've logged in, just to hopefully give you a good basis for communication and know that it's someone that is going to be active and responsive with you. So those are the 3 different ways to find a mentor in the system and engage with them in My Mentor. So once you do that, you'll actually enter into a mentoring connection. And so this, I'm showing you how a mentee or how a mentor would get to that. But once we are in the system, it's going to look the exact same for both mentors and mentees. Now, something to point out, so I mentioned earlier how you have all the different mechanisms for communicating, and this is actually a really easy place to see all of it. So first, you can schedule a video call, and that's not exclusive to My Mentor. You can do that throughout the entire system. But so within the schedule a video call, you can actually schedule that for later, just like you would with a Zoom call. If this person was, you know, a real person, obviously they're fake, and they were online at the same time, we could start a video call right now. We could also instant message back and forth, or we can just send messages that'll show up on our timelines and also show up in here. Alternatively, there's also a discussion board where you can just discuss anything and share files back and forth, and that feed will stay here the entire time. And then we can actually start diving into the structure of this. So every single mentoring connection starts with 19 prompts that you're going to work through. And all of these, okay, so you can see this is a demo or a demo group, or I'm sorry, a demo mentoring connection. And I've got several overdue because my mentee just doesn't exist. So we can't work through things together. But just because these are overdue does not mean that I'm penalized. And I've also been lazy and haven't gone in and changed the dates on these, but that's completely possible. But so what's going to happen is you'll receive 19 prompts up front, and you can work through these at your leisure. We have deadlines scheduled on them for a week for every single one because we find that that's, you know, an easy way for people to stay on track. But you are able to change everything about this. So, and something else to note too is that all of these prompts are all catering to a culturally aware mentorship. So it's not necessarily important for you to make sure to engage with somebody that's studying the exact same thing you're doing. Instead, it's important to find somebody that you can talk to and somebody that you are willing to go through and say, hey, I want to learn more about myself so that way I can develop my own personal independence, develop my confidence, develop my own self-efficacy. And that way it'll help project me from whatever career education stage you're currently in to where you want to go. And so whenever you are looking for mentors to engage with in here, if you're not finding someone that is your exact same area of study, that's okay. Find someone that you feel you can talk to instead. So just what all of these look like, whenever you open up one of the goals, you'll be able to see that they all have a structure of a paragraph or discussion from the very beginning. Some of them have a video, some do not, but then they also all have tasks to accomplish. Now, the way to think about these tasks isn't that you're going to have something tangible to turn in every time you come into one of these. Instead, it actually is talking points to kind of guide you through making sure you hit everything you need to within this discussion. So for this one, you know, is the getting to know you. And so you're going to talk about what you have in common with this person and what you have different, and also just what your cultural background is, what it is that makes you you that you're very proud of. So that's something that you can all come in and talk about these things. And as you talk about them, you check them off, and then it actually moves into, you know, taking you to the next goal. But something I want to point out, every single thing on here has an edit button next to it. And that's because we want you to make this as customizable for yourself as you need. We're providing you the structure and the idea, but you can make this whatever you need it to be to get the most out of it for you. And when I said that mentors and mentees see the same thing in here, I really mean that, because the mentoring goals are actually a mirror reflection between the mentor and the mentee. So if I come in here and make changes to this, and my mentee's a real person, then they would actually be able to come in and see the exact changes that I made. And then that way they're seeing those changes in real time, instead of you having to, you know, send a message and say, hey, is it okay to change this? Yes, it's okay to change this. Okay, now can I change this? You know, and it's really just mitigating that part of the discussion, and you can just go ahead and make those changes and move on. But what I want to point out is that everything is customizable in here. You can change the deadlines, you can change the titles, you can change and correct my grammar if you want. You can also take out the videos. I don't recommend that, they're very good, but you can take them out if you want. And everything in here is completely customizable to make it what you need to be to get the most out of it for you. So with that being said too, you can change here and you can change here, but something else too. We know that, yes, these are culturally aware things and all aspects of things that everybody is going to be dealing with. But if you have something more specific you want to work on, then you are also more than welcome to add in your own goal. And you can see we provide you the exact same rubric and structure that you do for the goals that are already provided for you. So it's not like this is going to look any different unless you just want it to. But that way you can go in and add your own goals and really make this a unique experience for you. So I know that's a whole lot within the mentoring, but I promise once you get in here and see it, it will all make perfect sense. And if it doesn't, I highly recommend either utilizing this need help function, or you can also connect with me in here and I can also answer any questions that you want along the way. And then I'm also going to provide my contact information at the end, so that way you'll have other ways to reach out to me if you have any questions. So next, I'm going to go into the My Groups. And this is where we actually have, oh, and that clicked the wrong thing. This is where there's actually the National Postdoc Association group. So first, actually, let's search for that one first. So let's see. I thought we created that one already. Okay, we'll come back to that. But so actually I want to show you first, anybody can come in here and create a group. So you don't have to be a mentor or mentee specifically. You can be either one and create a group. Now I recommend if you're looking for a special interest group, go ahead and search for it first. Otherwise, if you just want to search and see what's there, you can. A group that I would highly recommend everybody to join is this opportunity board. So this is a space where it's open to anybody to join, and anybody can come in and post opportunities. So we'll have people from the NIH post grant funding opportunities. We'll have NSF post grant funding opportunities. We'll have people post about summer research programs. People will post about job opportunities. So anybody can come in and subscribe to this, and then just anytime something new is posted, you'll receive an email, and you'll be able to see what's in that email to know if it's something you want to go check out further or not. But for now, I'm going to show you what it's like within one specific. Now, this is a group I use predominantly for demos, but I just want to show you how these are structured and how this is a place where you can come in and actually, have a private discussion with just people that are affiliated with this group. So first, down the center is that discussion board, and you can see that you can upload images into there and upload files and things like that. And any images or files that you upload into the discussion board as well, and not any text, but any images or files that you upload will also be artifacted here in this files tab. So that way people can come back and reference them very easily. Within the groups also, we do have a video call feature. Now, something to note here is this isn't beta testing, and that is because it currently caps out around 50 participants. So if you want more than 50 participants to be active in this, I do recommend moving over to Zoom or using another video calling feature. But if you want to stick to 50 participants or less, then absolutely, you have a free mechanism here to utilize that. Something else too is that you can schedule events, which will sync up with the calendar. Also, you can set who the owners are going to be of this group and change those out. So let's say that you have the National Postdoc Association chapter at your university, but that it switches every semester, even every academic year. So from there, whoever the head of it is can go ahead and create the group, but then you can switch out who the officers are every semester or every year as needed. There's also no maximum on the number of owners that can be on the group, and there's also no maximum on the number of members. And then also you can upload an image. This is a compilation of 10 images, but it really is all just synced up into one. So something else too is that groups in here can be set up as being public, private, invite only, or announcements. So something I will point out is that if you set the group to private, nobody will be able to search for it or know that it exists. So you would have to personally invite everybody in to join that. However, if you set it up as invite only, then that would mean that people can search for it, but they have to request an invite to join. Alternatively, we have announcements, which are similar to the Facebook fan page where people could just subscribe to it. And public obviously means that it's open to everybody. All of the pages also have a unique URL, which can be further customized. And then here's just where you would add everybody in and do all of that. So finally, because I do want to leave time for questions, and I've got a couple other things I can go into here as well. But I want to make a note now, just to where if anyone has questions, to go ahead and make sure to start populating those in the Q&A. And I'll continue talking about this stuff, but definitely go ahead and start populating in your questions. So what I want to discuss is the My Publications feature next. And this is something that is a relatively new feature. We just added it in the last year. And this was in response to the NIH, and I think NSF might be doing it too, where they're asking everybody to sync their ORCID IDs in with any application for grants. And so what we did to help out with that is actually create a place where you can go ahead and create your ORCID profile. Now, if you don't have an ORCID profile yet, or if you're not familiar with that, ORCID is a way that really syncs in and pulls in all of your publications, as well as can have your bio sketch, and then also even have a mini truncated CV in there. And but really it's the whole mechanism is there in order to sync all your publications together. And so if you don't have an ORCID ID, you would then have a button to where you could go create that. Creating an ORCID ID is completely free, and it's completely free to maintain. So all of that is just really easy and right there for you. And then once you have that ORCID ID, you can sync it up here. Now you can see I don't have any publications, but if I did, then all of those publications would actually factor into our matching algorithm. And that way it would help you find other people whenever we're using that matching algorithm to show you at the beginning who your recommended matches are. But it also will help people find you that are searching for things that you've already published about. So that's something that's all in here. Now, if you don't have an ORCID ID, or you just don't want to sync it with this, that's fine too, because we can also download from PubMed. Now, as I've said, I know that I have not published anything at this point, but I also, because I've done this a few times, know that somebody else has published with my same last name. So by default, this does populate based on last name. And so unfortunately, my first initial is not J, and this is not me. But if you have other aliases or names that have been published under, then you can also add those aliases. But this will go ahead and pull everything based on last name. And so whenever that populates, if that's not you, then you can go ahead and just delete that out. Now, before I delete this off mine, because unfortunately I didn't write it, I want to point out that any publications in here also are keyword searchable, like I was saying, so that anybody, let's say that someone was coming in and searching for pain or chronic pain, and I had this on my profile, they would be able to search that and my name would populate for them. And that way, that would be an easy way for us to connect and actually grow that network. And the same thing for, mindfulness or meditation, even adolescence on here, or treatment. So all of that stuff would be keyword searchable. And that's another way that, you can find other people to connect with. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I did not write this article. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this off. And you can see how easy that is to just absolutely remove that. So we have, let's see, a couple more minutes. There is one last thing I want to show you, and this is because it is my absolute favorite feature in here, and I get really excited about it. So I know many of you already have your CV done. You've already had to create it numerous times over, and you probably update it at least every single semester, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? I swear that I do that too. But if you don't have yours, if you are looking to make a new one, if you just want something simple, or maybe if you are in the process of switching from, liberal arts to STEM, or you just need something, this is a great place to come in and get that started. So like I said, I came from liberal arts and now I'm branching into STEM, and it is the difference in resume is just insurmountable. I mean, it's insane how different it is. So this is a great place to just come in and get that rubric started. So what you can see is that it asks you to fill out your information. Now it is going to automatically populate your picture based on the one you uploaded for your NRMN profile. I personally do not like having my picture on my CV or resume, so I'm opting not to have that. But you can fill out your information to the best of your ability. I'm choosing not to share any socials because this is my job and I don't want people contacting me at 2 a.m. to help them find a mentor. But otherwise you can fill this in if you want. If you don't, you'll see later that it actually is going to automatically populate and format, so that way it will not leave gaps in there. But once you have this filled out to the best of your ability and it guides you through all the different sets, you click publish. And once you click publish, you get this beautiful green bar and this unique URL. So whenever you click go, that will automatically format and populate your CV. Now, the reason why I love this so much is because you have a unique URL to your CV, and sorry, this takes a couple minutes to load sometimes, but you have a unique URL to your CV. And what I've seen people do with this is actually turn this into a QR code and put it on their business cards, put it on their poster presentations, put it anywhere that they want to see, anywhere that they want people to be able to access their CV. And my favorite part about this is that whenever you come in and make any changes to this, you just click publish again and it automatically updates here. So you don't have to say version after version after version after version. So that is just my favorite thing. So that way you don't have, 20 different CVs and constantly trying to find the last one. And then also if anybody does need a PDF, they can automatically, if they have this link, can download it and it'll populate just like this. So I can see there are already some questions going into the chat. So I want to go ahead and get started on that. But please know if there is anything on here that you have questions about later on, you can always feel free, like I said, to use this need help function. You can also search for me in here. My name is Katie Stinson, and you can also contact me, and I will put these email addresses into the chat as well. So I think, Christy, we should go ahead and start opening it up to the Q&A session. So it looks like we have a few in there.
Okay, great. Yes, we do have one question so far, and that is the question about citizenship, and if you could explain that again on how to be a mentee if you're a non-citizen.
Absolutely. So the NIH does have the stipulation that mentees must be U.S. citizens, permanent residents, or non-citizen U.S. nationals. So if you do not feel that you qualify as one of those, then you can still sign up as a mentor. The only difference in here whenever you're in My NRMN is that you would not be able to participate in My Mentor as a mentee. You could have a mentee, but you could not be a mentee in My Mentor. However, you could still have the opportunity to find a mentor in the system. So let's see if, I'm just going to put in chemistry, if I spell it correctly. And so whenever you come in here doing a search for something, and you could search for something definitely a lot more specific, or even, filter down further. But anybody who's a mentor in here, you can come in and request mentoring from them. And this is just that unstructured mentoring. So you could even still come in and start engaging in any sort of culturally aware mentoring if you wanted to, but it would just be on your terms whenever you wanted to do that. So like I said, if you do not qualify to be a mentee participant, you can still come in and request mentoring from people. And I would even recommend, if you're going this route of just the request mentoring, to even request mentoring from multiple mentors. You're not limited just to one in this capacity. So whenever you are engaged in a mentoring connection in My Mentor, a mentee can only have one mentor at a time. But whenever you're using this Find a Mentor, you can have multiple mentors and really make each of those connections what you need it to be.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions yet, but we can give people a few moments. I know it was a lot of information, which is wonderful to go over. There are so many amazing resources in this platform, and I really hope everyone will take advantage of that for no matter what stage you are and in what area. You can really find a lot of wonderful ways to connect here. Okay, a couple more questions coming in. How long does it take a new registrant to feel comfortable with the platform? And what's the first thing you would suggest for getting started?
Great question. As far as feeling comfortable, it really depends on you. I've had some people, for example, I gave a webinar, the How to Leverage the NRMN Network webinar on Monday. And I had a mentee attend that webinar, immediately connect with me after, and asked to start up a mentoring connection right all in the same day. So it really depends on your personal comfort level and just how quickly you want to dive in. I recommend, if whenever you come in, there is a whole lot here. Just start clicking on things. You're not going to mess anything up. You're not going to break anything. So definitely just come in, start clicking on things, see what's there. But alternatively, also come in and just start searching for things. Start just putting in key terms to see what's there. And then that way it'll just kind of help acclimate you to it and really get started with it. And I'm sorry, I realized I just forgot the second part of that question. The first part was feeling comfortable. What was the second part?
Right. And the first thing that you would do to get started, what's your recommendation?
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I would absolutely get started first by clicking around, seeing what's there. But then next, it really depends on what you're looking for. I know for me at my stage, I am, working a full-time job and doing a full-time PhD program, and to be honest, the pandemic has left me a little bit lost whenever it comes to what I'm looking for next. So I would probably want to start by finding a mentor to really help me dive into discovering what it is that I'm really seeking and why I'm putting myself through this. So something to really kind of dive in for me personally. I mean, that's what I would want. For you, I don't know what you're looking for, but I would recommend, just as a general starting point, again, searching and just seeing what's in there and then clicking around and just getting comfortable with it. So
Great.
I hope that helps. I know it's general.
Yeah, it's okay. Another question is, can I participate in this structured mentorship as both a mentor and mentee simultaneously?
We would love to have that. We unfortunately do not have that built out at this time, but that is something that we are working toward in the future. So that is on our docket of things to build, but we don't have that quite yet. Something really great about my NRMN though, is that the Vanderbilt team actually built this from the ground up. So this isn't something where we're paying a third-party provider and we have to come in and make recommendations and adhere to their limitations. Anything that comes in and that we see as a need for the group, or whenever we hear great recommendations from people, such as things like that, we can absolutely take them to the team. I can't guarantee that we're going to be able to build it within a week or a month, but that is something that we can add to our list of things that we're currently building in as improvements. So whenever you guys are in here and you see things that you want, then you can absolutely come in and make recommendations. There's a way to submit or ticket within the need help. And then there's also a send feedback button here too, where you can make recommendations to the group, as well as also contact me on my email address, on either my direct email address or our info@nrmn.net.
Great. Next question was, do you know what percentage of members, mentors are not in academia? We don't have it broken down by academia versus non-academia. And unfortunately, I do not have those numbers in front of me, but we have a list. Here, let me pull up. So something else, this is actually a good point to bring up. So within the profiles, we do ask some fairly personal questions, but we want you to know that not everything that is answered within this profile actually factors into the matching algorithm. So what I want to point out is that everything with an asterisk is something that's required to fill out, but everything with the 1 on it, stuff that is kept completely private. So there are things on such as race, gender, sexual orientation, or sexual identity that we do not share with anybody else. And that is just stuff because we are a diversity organization, and that's why we collect that. But if that is something that's important to you that you want to be factored into the matching algorithm, then you can definitely write it into that About Me section. So just based on the questions that are here, we don't really have a way to differentiate between academic versus non-academic. But that definitely is a great idea and something we should probably consider adding in, because that is something that we have a lot of people that are industry focused versus academic focused. So that is a great question. And unfortunately, I don't have a wonderful answer for it. That's okay. That's part of doing these webinars. We all learn something new and we all can improve upon. Yeah. Okay. I don't see any other new questions now. And we are getting close to the end of the hour. So we'll leave it open for a moment or two and see if anything else comes in. And I'd also just like to remind everyone that we do still have more events going on for National Postdoc Appreciation Week, even this afternoon and tomorrow and Friday. And I know that was one of the many, many links shared, but it would be towards the top of the chat can also be found on the NPA homepage, which is www.nationalpostdoc.org. And yes, and one last piece, we do have a specific NPA postdoc group, which has been created. I'm not sure why it wasn't coming up in the search.
Did I not type it in properly? Was
I don't,
it
well,
NPA?
here, I can send out that link to everyone, and this should take everyone to that group. So if you would like to join through that, that it would come up.
Ah, no, that's a different one.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure why it wouldn't come up, because I know we put in
Yeah.
the search terms.
Yeah. There it is.
There.
I'm not sure why that wasn't coming up. So what I can do, do you have the link to that one?
Yeah, I put the link in the chat
Okay.
to everyone.
So anybody else, whenever you come in here, you can automatically click join group. And then you can also click share group. And then that way you can share either the original link or even a bit.ly link of it too. So, and you can see what all is in here so far. So yeah, so that is there. I'm sorry, I was not able to find that earlier. I'm not sure why that wasn't pulling up.
That's okay. It's a new group just getting started. And you know, we'll be happy to have people join and then start conversations there.
So something else with the groups too, anytime somebody joins the group, you're not going to receive an email notification, but just whenever new things are posted, you will receive a notification, and it just comes to your email. And then that way, you know, if there is something that you want to go check out, you'll know what the content is, and you can go read further on it. And if it's not, then that's fine too. So.
All right. Well, very good. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you, Katie, for your time and great presentation on letting us learn and see everything that NRMN has to offer. And in closing, just to remind everyone that we are doing a postdoc needs survey right now, and that link was also put at the top. And each week we will be doing a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card for people that answer. So as a little incentive. Okay, well, very good. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that everyone is having an awesome National Postdoc Appreciation Week.
Awesome. We all appreciate you. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.